Hello, church family. I hope you're doing well. Uh, I'm in the midst of doing a series of devotionals that are challenges that the modern church needs to address, and I'm hoping that I can offer some suggestions in this area. This current one is aging churches. So, our church, like many other churches, our church was founded in the early 80s. And we have quite a few elderly folks in our church. And um, in order for us to grow, we realized that we need to have young people in our church. I am not the future of our church. Jeff is not the future of our church. I believe anyone over 60 isn't the future of our church, past 10 years or so anyway. And so, how do we do this? How do we solve the dilemma of an aging church? First, we need to realize that uh, things that we've grown up with and things that we do and the way we do them aren't necessarily what people value and do today. This is not to say that some of the things we do are worth keeping and passing down. I'm merely suggesting that uh, some things change in the sense of, for example, music. A lot of people don't like contemporary music. They were raised on traditional music, and I understand that. And there are two or three dozen traditional praise songs and worship songs that we do that I absolutely love. However, I did not come to Christ till I was 59. I'm 75 this month, and I played rock and roll into my 40s, and I still like a lot of it. So I prefer contemporary worship music. There's no right or wrong to this stuff, but most young people generally will prefer contemporary music, and therefore I believe in order to attract younger people, which would represent the future of our church, in order to attract them to our church, we need to at least have that in the offing. Uh, so that they have something that they can look forward to. I have a difficult time sometimes with some of the traditional songs because of the old King James wording, and I just wasn't raised on them, so a lot of them just they don't ring a bell for me, and that's okay. Um, but more importantly, how do we take a futuristic outlook on our church as we age? Well, one of the things we have to guard against in our aging is we can't become complacent and comfortable. There are many folks that do get set in their ways when they get older, and it's like, here's the exit, meaning we're off to heaven, and here we are now, and we want to get from here to there. And a lot of people don't want things to change in the latter part of their life. They're comfortable, they know how things work, they're comfortable with that. They don't need a whole lot of change in their life. And in many ways, like I said, I understand that I'm set in my ways in certain things also, but we need to recognize that uh, we need to have youth in our church. We need to keep our church thinking young. If we want our church to have a future, it's going to happen with families, young families, raising kids. So I'm going to read you some Bible passages here that might help us get an idea with this. And we need to keep renewing our faith and our energies to how do we solve this dilemma? So if we are faithful to God, He will renew us and sustain us into our old age. That is Ruth 4:15. Even to your old age and gray hairs, I am He who will sustain you. I have made you and I will carry you. I will sustain you and I will rescue you. That is from Isaiah 46:4. Uh, Moses was 120 years old when he died, which was sort of young back then, but his eyesight was clear and he was as strong as ever. That's in Deuteronomy 34:7, NLT translation. Uh, One of my favorite passages when it comes to old age uh, is this one. I love this. This is Psalm 71:18, and it reads, even when I am old and gray, do not forsake me, my God, till I declare your power to the next generation, your mighty acts to all who are to come. And that's certainly my hope here at this church. I have always tried to look for ways to help grow our church and to secure its future in terms of younger generations. And again, I want to emphasize that our church is not the building, it is us, the people. Let's go back to a couple of these verses. Those who are older should speak, for wisdom comes with age. Job 32:7. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Psalm 90:12. Philippians 1:6 says, and I am certain that God, who began the good work within you, will continue his work until it is finally finished on the day when Christ Jesus returns. Tell older men to be sober, to be men of good character, to use good judgment, to be well-grounded in faith, love, and endurance. Tell older women to live their lives in a way that shows they are dedicated to God, not to be gossips or addicted to alcohol, but by examples of virtue. In this way, we will teach young women to show love for their husbands and children, to use good judgment, and to be morally pure. This is from Titus 2:2-5. Stand up in the presence of the elderly and show respect for the aged. Fear your God, I am the Lord. That is from Leviticus 19:32. So we need to look at our demographic, where we are. We need to look around us and see what is the population around us. And what we have come to find out is most of the people in our area are in their mid to late 30s. They have families, 2, 3, 4 kids. They have an income of over $100,000 a year on average. They have some debt. And we have a lot of people in our area who are not affiliated with any churches. And those people in those families, they are the future that we need to secure the future of our church and its future generations. We are in the process of figuring that out now. We have a revitalization committee that's going on. We meet regularly once a month, and we will be making presentations to the church. And all of this has to do with how we're looking at growing our church, the physical room we're going to need the buildings that are starting to give way to entropy. Things are starting to break down. Our education building is somewhat of a disaster. I know in the back it's like 6 inches higher on one side than it is on the other side in terms of the level floor and that. So as we age, we can't let our church age. We need to balance our church with younger people who are coming in to fill the roles that we currently have, while we are still able to teach them, work with them, mentor them, encourage them, so that we can continue our work until Christ returns. And no one knows the date of that. Sooner the better as far as I'm concerned, but I'm not 25, so that might have something to do with that perspective. So keep this in mind as we do our plannings for the buildings we're going to build, the things we want to do, the way we present our services to the people around us. And by services, I mean our worship services. We're going to be looking at, do we want 1 service, 2 services, 3 services? We have 3 right now, if you count the one on Saturday. So there's a lot of things to take into account here. But we need to turn our eyes to the future, not to just how long I have left. We want the church to go on way past that. And that needs to be our point of looking at things. I hope this helps you somewhat in this perspective. Have a good day, church.